as I have expressed, this is a video diary that I have had to watch Evil Lives Here because the form of thinking is not rational. Okay, so I try to get a clear cut understanding of what's happening with my experiences. So to get an insight on what's happening, for example, the boy that I expressed to you that killed his mother, he said that he had a good mother. He just needed to know how it felt to kill someone. So was a little bit more complicated than what he thought. First, he tried to strangle her, and he wasn't really getting the gratification. So he felt that he needed to just get a knife and murder her so he could feel the blood and see that. So they had a fun. He left and went to the neighbor's house and shows off and say, "I just murdered my mom. Can you call the police?" So he goes to the police department, tells the police department, "I murdered my mom. And, I liked it. I think I may do it again. I think I need to be in jail. I'll suffer the consequences, but I needed to know how it felt to kill someone." So he's willing to spend the rest of his life incarcerated because he had to know how it felt. That's not rational to most of the civilization. So we have to hear their point of view on why they have to do this. And in my scenario, why law enforcement has to cover for it. So I believe on this channel, there's actually gratification. Like that boy that went to go report to the neighbor and left his phone that was there at home. Left that phone in some kind of way, wanted the neighbor to call and told the neighbor I killed someone. I thought that was bizarre. Nonetheless, so back to the reasoning behind that story. I'm getting all these emails, doing the videos, and I just want you to see them. Jason is paying people to be quiet over the phone and not to respond, just to agitate you for his own sexual pleasure. He also wants to know, why do you keep calling the sheriffs when he has them paid off as well as the police? That's the reason why they're acting weird. He wants you back in Dallas ASAP. Well, Dallas, they can't do a false arrest, but they're out of control. You can see how they're able, 10, 15 police cars are at the West End guarding it, demanding people to block my path. They're just out of control, coming to restaurants, stop signs, bus stops, getting on buses, telling them to drive into traffic, almost kill me. So that's really not that's a safety concern. Because they're terrorizing me, demanded that I left a paid hotel room and the location defraud me out of funds. I still don't have the funds. It's uploaded. It's impossible to use transit in Dallas. I got assaulted using transit, and that's uploaded on this channel as well. He's telling me, admitting to getting my channel banned. Jason needs your new YouTube channel so he can mess with the monetization process. He's going to put you in jail if not. The threats that law enforcement demands that I take. He demands that I start up the online relationship again. So I'm communicating with him. I can't get law enforcement. I see you I paused it, but it wouldn't pause. I see you like me to go to jail for entertainment. You lied and said the eviction, you lied about the eviction like I knew you would. You are all about the games. There's no need for me to continue this online abuse. You can't call this insanity a relationship. You treat me like trash for fun. He's admitting to bribing everybody on the planet. He's getting his gratification and high. It's a power struggle. He's not really concerned about the consequences like that boy wasn't. He has the power to abuse. Why not abuse it? He has to. So I'm being blamed for all of their crimes. Erroneous communication. I'm being abusive. Notice of coordinated monitoring. That's actually true. Law enforcement sensitive. It's something about a calendar. I don't even want to go into that. Then they're saying something about Promise Point. I'm violating Promise Point. Cease and desist unwanted contact with Sergeant Banda. They're demanding that I stop contacting Sergeant Banda. Final notice of eviction. Law enforcement is demanding my eviction. My device is going crazy. I don't know what you're seeing, but they're demanding that I not get a protection order. I get punished for laughing. You think that I'm joking? I get put out of places. I got put out of our daily bread for hysterically laughing. I was on my device and saw something really funny, and I said hysterically laugh. It wasn't causing the disturbance. Within minutes. It wasn't even an hour that they scammed that I recorded indoors. When it was, you could see concrete and grass. They said I uploaded that. I didn't know that they were stalking me. How did they get my YouTube channel? This, you can see the mental concept of someone demanding, why are they watching me anyway in my residences? To be furious that I laughed. You thought I was joking. I am serious with you. In jail, I have had to hide under the covers. I hysterically laughed reading a book. They did a shakedown the next day, had shackled my feet and my hands. In the minute that I turned around, like six guards and with corporals and all that, whoever they were, high-ranking people. They did it. They tore all the affirmations off my wall. I kept a meticulous calendar of people I had interaction with. They tore all that down. They ransacked the cell, everything, threw my mat on the floor. I used to be OCD, but I can't because they demand that they're hiding soap here. They do it in hospital stays. I always wash my hands. I wouldn't say it's compulsive, but I do repeatedly. That's a part of my nature. So they hide the soap. So in the other unit that has bathrooms, they have soap. But the side I use has no soap. It's hidden. And like I said they did the same thing at PNS. Though you could not wash your hands, you had to have your own soap. Knowing that nobody would ever believe that someone could abuse this much power just do law enforcement. So as I address to you, I'm sure you need to know how petty this party is and how much power they let him abuse to be petty. So they demanded it, since I'm anemic, they demanded that every cell that I was in, I did a grievance and it's uploaded. That why is it winter and it's snowing outside and you have the AC running? And people were complaining. They didn't know they had me around these controlled inmates. The guard was trying to shush them. When I first was entered the cell in isolation, so they stated, "Why did you cut the heat off?" And I looked to try to incriminate the guard so she couldn't cue them to not talk. So I was looking so she couldn't speak. She said, "Why did you cut the heat off?" And then she said it got hot today. They said, "No, it didn't. It's freezing in here. Cut the heat back on." She said it got hot. She said, "No, it didn't. Cut the heat back on." And then they later covered for it. They said they had to have the AC on because it was some kind of leak. And the leak demanded that the AC run. But they kept complaining about how cold it was. And they were like, "Dang, it's cold in here." And they just let the AC be on in the snow. So they're so petty. Every tank that I'm in, that they have to have the AC running in the winter. In hospitals, some kind of miraculous event shuts down. They did it at another hospital. You saw at the hotel stays. They're so petty. That's a lot of power. They're uploaded videos with them scamming to keep me from heat. I think that's incredible. Okay, so they want me to, I think I'll click in this protective order. This foreign letter is to formally notify you that effective immediately control and abuse, this is criminal, you are prohibited from submitting any new applications for a protection order through Victoria County District Attorney's Office without prior written authorization from the officer of the chief prosecutor of a designated representative. I can't get one for some reason. I don't know them. I guess they're stalking me. I thought that was a felony. The restriction follows a review of multiple filings and communication originating from you, which have been determined to lack sufficient merit, contain inconsistent or unsubstantiated claims, or appear to misuse court resources. I don't have any court resources. I don't know what they're speaking of. While we take our reports of potential harm seriously, our office also has responsibility to prevent misuse of legal protections designed. My device is glitching. No, I don't know what you're saying. Hacked. Let's stop saying glitching. My device is hacked. Prevent misuse of legal protections designed for individuals genuinely in need of them. Control. You are not permitted to file any further requests for a protection order through our office without prior approval. I don't know what they're speaking of. What do they mean? Protective order, further requests. I haven't made any requests. They keep hanging them up in my face. I can't speak to them. He's stating right here clearly, I'm sorry. He's telling people to do it. Jason says he's the reason so many people are saying, I'm sorry. And ma'am, he's doing it to annoy you. I state clearly. As you can see in the other recordings, in the uploads, that officer said that indeed these were trill emails. He substantiated the fact that they are real and they have emailed me cases. Years until I started uploading it. Mail me and email me cases from nowhere. Crane did it. That's Judge Crane in Hillsborough. He also covered for someone illegally evicted me there. I paid the rent, had a U-Haul, and already had my fish tank moved in. He tried to steal some equipment that I had there, wouldn't give me my deposit back. I paid $600. I didn't know I was targeted. Whoever I had the storage with lied. It was coming direct debit. I think I had like $5,000 in my account. We had jobs lined up, progress. This is what he does year after year. It's like a smear campaign because I mean, you hear this repeated behavior of me having nest eggs, even homeless. So you have to strategize to keep someone like me down. So I had all this money and I didn't know what I was thinking was impossible. So I go to the storage and it's locked up. And they said I haven't paid my storage bill, so they were essentially defrauding me out of funds. How? And it's coming direct debit, and I have like $5,000 in my account. But nonetheless, whatever was happening, and then she charged me a fee for cleaning that was excessive, like almost $100 or like 70. It felt like I was being defrauded out of funds. So nonetheless, I have the U-Haul, and we get there. He's changed the locks with property in it, and then with the lease agreement, he kept changing it. I had a lease agreement, and then it was like he was tampering with evidence. So he demanded that I do another lease agreement, and what he was doing was strategizing that I actually didn't have a current lease. Johnny Bowman in Hillsborough. You need to know this so you can know the how long these crimes have been committed and the extremity of what I'm experiencing. So I move in, U-Haul, prepared, ready to move in. Johnny Bowman has been playing games and psychologically abusive. I just thought, I was desperate. He was just weird. And not to mention the countless other parties that I had lease agreements and lights cut on. And they retracted on lease agreements. But I don't know, I'm targeted. Weird. Because typically if you have a lease agreement and you cut lights on, you move in. So it was bizarre. So those panned out. And finally I got Johnny Bowman. I already was living in an environment, moved out. I get there. Johnny Bowman scams that there's some kind of miraculous flood that happened. Regardless of whether there's a flood that happened, it's no longer your property because I have a lease agreement and key. I'm not saying you're renting it out, and I have access to that property. So the police comes. I call the police on Johnny Bowman. A police tells Johnny Bowman that you can't do that. She has a lease agreement and key. 4 police come from nowhere and silence the police and allows Johnny Bowman to deny me access to the residence. My daughter's crying and panicking. We haven't had this fresh start, $5,000 almost in the account. He won't let us in. It's wiped out by hotel stays that were bizarre. Johnny Bowman tried to steal like a fish tank with, like you can see in other videos, that was really pivotal to us. I love fish. He tried to, like I said, to steal the equipment. And then another party found the equipment he was trying to steal. I said, this man just saved you $100 that I'm about to sue you for. So I paid $600 to try to, I felt that he said that I know all the officers. He owns that location. So I deliberately tried to do a small claims court that wasn't in Hillsborough. I paid $600. They demanded that I didn't have the court date on my court date. I paid someone to give me a ride there. I don't know what was happening because I had a vehicle. I don't know if I wanted the emotional support. So someone gave me a ride there. They met me in the front and told me I didn't have a court date and kept the $600. I had to file again with Judge Crane. I gave him all the damages for the other court that defrauded me out of $600, the damages for all the hotel stays, the U-Hauls and all that, the money that I paid, application fees, deposits and all that. The only thing Judge Crane awarded me was the $1,000 and did not give me all the damages that wiped me out. Judge Crane also mailed me this case from nowhere. When my abuser was mad, I didn't go to his party. From nowhere, I was mailed out a case. Judge Crane got caught in that. They dismissed the case. I didn't know what was happening. They had me on probation for this fraudulent case. When they got caught in Hillsborough with Diane Hammer not taking me to court for the 255th District Court fiasco and all the court dates with Judge Crane, they played games. I was told at one moment the charges were dismissed. If I was happier that day, they're filing charges on you. Again, you may be in here over a year. They told you wrong information. Those charges for you, that blatant lie, you assaulted the officer, evading arrest. Upon my interest, a lady came up to me screaming at the top of her lungs, law enforcement. That's how they booked me in. I started crying. I didn't know what was happening. While she was, I didn't know this woman to be terrorizing me. But nonetheless, she was screaming at the top of her lungs, degrading me with the booking process. I thought that was criminal, but yet people haven't got their charges. Judge Crane told me and covered for Diane Hammer's crimes and said the reason why I didn't go to court on my court dates and I was put in restrictions because I didn't need to be there at my court dates. Now they got tired of that scam. It's too incriminating, so I just can't be there, period. I had some kind of con. They didn't want to go to prison with Judge Crane repeatedly being connected to criminal offenses, so they scammed that on my release date, they didn't deprive me of court. Had this packed courtroom where you couldn't even sit down. People were standing up, and then it was like you barely could even enter. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I just had a misdemeanor charge that was a false report of me abusing 911 for reporting law enforcement's crimes, like they repeatedly keep doing. I didn't. How was it a jury that I didn't ask? My attorney would play mind games like multiple different other attorneys. They call me out the cell, and I'm waiting and waiting in jail on false charges, and then she say that she saw someone else instead of me. Go back to yourself. I don't know if this whole court that I paid $600 to, where that went, and why that court wouldn't be facing criminal charges repeatedly over and over for these crimes. Out of all the parties, how dangerous is this for me to report all this insanity? But yet and still, I'm not willing to take the risk of putting on makeup. That's even more dangerous than all these countless reports. Something here about getting off. It's blurry covering for it. Jason asked you to define what getting off means to you. What's your definition of it? He demands that I find someone to have sex with. And I said, how am I going to have sex with someone if I can't use my POF? He said, figure it out. I guess that he's insinuating like will be a bizarre thing that was placed in my feed. I didn't even want to record it. I guess he's demanding that I masturbate. I know I'm going to put in that this is graphic, but I want you to know what I have to endure. So sheriff's office told me indeed these emails were true, and I needed to abide by them. As I expressed, law enforcement has been in cahoots with schemes for psychological damage. My daughter's stepmom told me that my daughter was missing. Early that day, I was at work panicking, and I was calling her. She wouldn't answer the phone to see if they found her. So I could immediately, when I got off work, I went to the police department. I was terrorized. They got mental health people. I guess this is a conspiracy. They're all in cahoots together for this emotional distress. They're letting someone that's not mentally stable control them. So they're behaving like they're mentally ill, like shutting down bus stops. They know that you wouldn't believe that there would be an abuse of power to that extreme, just so I'd be in terror and torment. So they scammed that some kind of way. They couldn't do a welfare check after hours and hours. So then I went back. So they eventually scammed that they did the welfare check at 11, and she's perfectly fine. And I said, well, she has had bruises and other abuse that you cover for. They didn't need to discuss that. She was fine in the hands, and they weren't concerned about the crimes to keep me away from my child. They weren't concerned about the emotional distress of her witnessing police arrest her mom in front of her for profit, and then withholding access to her parent, all that this time for profit. And then they can't get their story straight, so they're demanding that I don't get records, and I'll turn the web page so no one else knows about their crime. And they're hiding all of the evidence, have Attorney General being in cahoots, CPS and all these other parties to conceal the mess that they created by letting someone that's not mentally stable control them, like they did before COVID. They're telling me that these cookies that I uploaded is a false report, like they've tasted them. And law enforcement has said, indeed, these are accurate emails. They're sending me a case for reporting crimes again. If they're not arresting me and assaulting me, these are all the cases until I did uploads. It's a criminal to report crimes or flee abuse. It's gaslighting. So he's stating that he's going to have people at Crumble Cookie do what they do here. It's covering for it again. Jerk their bodies and kick. They want this to be mental illness. So this is critical that you not see this. They don't want you to see it. But this is a downfall of allowing someone to illegally hack my phone. It puts my safety at risk and defrauding me out of funds. I have been defrauded out of funds. It's criminal, and I can't properly use my phone. They're letting my abuser hijack my phone through law enforcement, and then therefore covering for it. Jason said if you go to Crumble, it will feel like a zombie movie with all amount of jerking and kicking. You better not eat those cookies. Play with him if you want. I've already uploaded this. But you need to know the mental capacity of this party. He's serious. I'm infringing on his authority in my life. I will not put on that makeup. And if he's demanding that I have sex with someone, or if I have to do it alone, you figure it out, or there will be consequences. This is how the people think that really don't have a proper concept. And demanding that I take them and then have to hide under the covers and environments in my own apartment and can't express to people that my experience is incredible. How did I get locked out on my balcony alone? And why would law enforcement let someone do this? If there's a bar that you have to, let me show you. Well, here's the thing. I like being outdoors, and he needs me to be isolated. He don't want me. I'm a friendly person. He don't want me by chance meeting someone. That's a threat to be outside on my balcony. What if someone thinks that I'm attractive and try to talk to me? So he has to strategize an avenue in multiple different environments. Multiple different environments locked me out when I went outside. It was like a punishment. So I go outside and sit outside and have a good day, and then I try to go in and they lock the door. They did this on Bluffman, where he was raging. That's uploaded. They strategized multiple different putouts. He degraded me. My bra came up missing. He said, "You think I took the MF bra? I don't wear MF bras." So he's furious with me because my only bra, I had just got robbed at Parkland. They took everything. I didn't have anything. And the one bra I had, I didn't want to be going braless. And you're furious with me that my bras, well, how did it disappear? You did laundry. I asked him, "Can I please do my own laundry?" He already ruined a new dress. I barely had anything. It was a really nice dress. That's uploaded. So I went outside some kind of way. I was locked out there like an hour and a half. So I realized that I couldn't go outside. And then I'd ask him permission sometimes. I said, what was happening? You locked me out. He said, I fell asleep. I said, well, I was outside, what hours do I need to go out? It happened again. So I just wouldn't stop going outside. So when I was happier at home alone, I get prank calls. Someone degraded me. "You stink. How would you know I'm at home alone and I just got out the shower?" And you'll see in this email they're putting a case on me because I smell. You see the bar right here. How? I knew my life was bizarre, so I took my phone. Happened. But see, my life isn't normal. When things like this, I'm locked outside on the balcony. When things like this happens, I can't call. It's impossible. On my phone. I'm on the second floor. To be bullies and leave me in chaos. So this is just a video diary. So when things like this happen, I really don't have help. They wait hours and hours, This is impossible if it wasn't delivered. This is way too much power to abuse. He didn't want me outside on the balcony. He wanted to teach me a lesson like the other environment. And then I was outside in the heat. I called maintenance. And I said, thank goodness I didn't have the clasp on to where they couldn't get in, the security clasp. So people couldn't get in from outside. So thank goodness I didn't have that attached. So maintenance says that he's busy right then and has me outside. And I wanted to go to church. It was a Sunday. I relaxed. There was the right temperature. I had a great day. I read the affirmations and I read Bible studies. Wonderful day. Turn around and I'm locked outside on the second floor of my own balcony. I know, my story is incredible. So I just recorded it. Thank goodness I had my phone. So I asked neighbors to help. Because I could essentially call the apartment complex and they weren't answering. I don't know what provoked them to finally answer. Then maintenance said that he was out and about taking care of other business and he couldn't do it then. It was starting to get hot and I was trapped on the balcony. I said, "You guys need to hurry up and come. This is an emergency. It's getting hot out here." And then they finally came. Then he scams. He comes back. He scams that he didn't have the right key. How's that possible? So he scams the first time and then leaves again for the emotional distress and torment. Leaves again, goes to get the key, comes back and said he messed up with the key again. I'm hot, perspiring, still trying to go to church. He goes back a third time and finally finds the right key. And then he tries to create an alibi on why this was possible. So you can be at home and have a nice day without immediately getting prank calls, emails, or threats. You can be at jail stays and they're not doing shakedowns and put out of shelters for you laughing, knowing no one would ever believe that someone would be able to abuse that much power. That's not so much my life. So I bought some feminine hygiene products and I bought some all kind of perfumes. That's kind of like things. I think that's the odor thing. Because people have said, I imagine a lot of people when they're depressed and going homeless and going through things that some people may let themselves go. But when when I am doing well, I like perfume. And I had just bought some new products and my shower wasn't getting hot. I uploaded a video where they kept scamming that I couldn't use hot water. I have low cold showers. In a lot of these environments, it'll be either scalding hot or extremely cold. No, to hurry up and force me to hurry up and get out the shower. So nonetheless, I approached the apartment complex. Why, when I just bought these hot products, was the water heater not working again? They acted like they were lying and said, we're working on it. I never had hot water in the sink, and they've had issues with hot water in the sink here. This is just love taps, infatuation taps. This is just fun. Now, as he has expressed in these emails, don't get on his bad side. He's just trying to let me know who's in control here. This is infatuation. This isn't hate. So you can imagine how hate would be. This is an inside joke right here. Bullied Abak Ricky Rush concrete water bottle. And then he's stating that the reason why Pastor Rush of Abak was about to be indicted, it was probably a false report. I don't know. I've been attending that church weird, and the pastor was acting bizarre. There was a huge scandal. So the inside joke here is I got put out of another church. So I was forced into homelessness. Okay. So I went inside the church bathroom and I filled a bottle with water. Okay. I think it was Friendship West. So it was a good sermon. I was smiling and really enjoyed it. And I don't know why it's just like mental illness to get infuriated when someone's happy. So filled the water bottle with water. I put it in my backpack, then went into the service. Then I was happy, left the service, and the security came from nowhere and demanded that I never came back because I had that water bottle. I asked and begged and pleaded for church members to help me because I get terrorized like this by security and police. They all ignored me, and no one would help this security from terrorizing me. So I walked to the bus stop. Security followed me and demanded that I could never come back because I had that water bottle. I knew from being treated like this that I had to get the YouTube channel because you would never believe my story. That someone would put you out of a church and ban you for having a water bottle. So they realized it was meant to torment and show an abuse of power. He wanted me to know who was in control and was being petty. So when I started uploading, then they scammed that I was being put out like on the TRE for someone staging a conflict, threatened me, and then gaslit me and put me off by the hands of law enforcement. That's uploaded. And I've tried to search for it, but it hides it. So it makes it difficult for me to get that video, but it is on the video. So they needed a strategy to keep me from fleeing to Dallas. In Dallas, they have, like I said, ran out of their get out of jail free card. So really he was strategizing to keep me from Dallas because they wanted to set up another false arrest in Fort Worth, where they had a free reign of terror with no accountability law enforcement. So he has this man staged that he's furious with me, conflict. I immediately, when I started recording them, the man, because he's illegally monitoring my device, he demanded that everybody left, and I'm intentionally isolated like abusers. In this location on camera footage, if they can go back in our settings, people sit next to me and they're enlisted to leave me and not sit back by me in multiple different environments. So there are people are motioning them to get away from me in these public environments. So now I'm ostracized and isolated, but I had a lot of relationships and he gets jealous. So then he has all the location stage conflict. They're furious with me and a lot of people I haven't even talked to, knowing you never believe my story. So I'm being informed that I'm harassing all these businesses that violated me. Fraudulent behavior. False reports to law enforcement. Sour odor. They said this at Austin Street, and I'll go into that. That's how you know there's a mastermind. Community health and sanitation concern. Notice of sour odor complaints. So at Austin Street, I was sick because I'm anemic, and especially that time of the month. So they can tell by the way that I carried myself that I was sick and tired. So Austin Street demanded before shower time that I should shower because I smelled sour. Someone was reporting a sour scent, and they had reported a sour scent in multiple different locations. I found that peculiar because how can someone smell sour? You would typically say that they have an odor or a BO. That's not common to say sour for multiple different locations. So nonetheless, they demanded that I smell sour and took a shower. I know my life was peculiar and I was already dizzy and sick. So I got up to shower. They demanded that I got out anyway. They didn't have that expectation. They thought I'd fight. But I didn't because I was sick. So I got up immediately to shower when shower was closed. We got there at 2. We did intake. It was about 2:30. The shower opened at 4. They demanded that I shower before 4. So I did. I got up to shower anyway when it was closed. And that con didn't work, so they just put me out. They demanded that if I spoke about it further, that I'd have an excess of more days of put out at Austin Street Shelter. And then they blamed me for their misconduct and said that I can't stay there because I was problematic, like all these locations. So nonetheless, so she demanded that I shower right then, and that when I didn't got up to shower, they demanded that I left with no reasoning, and then they said that they'll extend it even further, the ban from services, if I disputed them putting me out with no reasoning. Just like they said that they were putting me out for being assaulted, and they won't return my calls to get any kind of insight on why they thought there was a threat for me to be assaulted on their property, and why they disregarded the fact that people didn't follow policy and protocol, and that's misconduct and that's also criminal to put your hands on someone while they would cover for something like that. In this location, cover for someone bringing a car at me. That's actually a criminal charge. Yeah, but I guess law enforcement's behind it. They're enlisting people to behave psychos, so therefore covering for it. Yeah, obviously, if someone's willing to commit a crime, you have to be getting paid big bucks. And he's saying that he's bribing all these locations. It's emails stating that I'm paying your neighbor and the properties you live at through the police. I saw the police come at Austin Street, and they would have deliveries. At Salvation Army in Dallas, they were looking for me. And I changed my appearance and everything. I was told that they were paying people. She said that they were passing out money left and right to staff and people staying here. I reported it to Internal Affairs and police headquarters, and they cover for it. That the places I live are being bribed, which is a safety concern, and it's also criminal. So it's slander. It's part of gaslighting. Noticeable sour or decaying odor coming from your unit or surrounding area. And you've heard, and I have picked, I haven't really been myself. It won't let you see it. It's big. My device is glitching. They told me I haven't done anything. I haven't let things go. This is how letting things go. A lot of these arrangements I did on my own. This is how it looks letting things go for me. I'm still in the bed, trying to flee abuse all these years and can't. Affirmations and things on the wall. A lot of these things I purchased. That plant over there, I bought that pot. I bought that picture. I bought that stand over there. I spray painted those handles and bought those handles at the top with the silver on it. Those pictures over there hanging on the wall, I bought that. This I bought. Look, I bought all this and did that arrangement. I bought that lamp cover. That cross. I spray painted that and bought that. I bought that thing over there. It's like I said, I haven't put those up from the fruit that I had. I bought that pillow cover, all those pillows. All those affirmations and decorations at the top. This is how letting things go looks for me. So someone saw that I took delight illegally. That little thing right there on the ceiling fan that looks like a dragonfly. I bought that. But this is a pattern. When I buy something, I don't understand how this wouldn't be considered in the domestic violence and how damaging property. It's essentially damaging property. If I'm building up things and someone's deliberately wiping the rug up under me to rob me of everything that I've accomplished or tried to, build in my life, down to the degree of where they demand it. Now, let me show you. So law enforcement is glitching. Law enforcement, this is a sergeant. And the police department already said these were real emails and wanted me to sit in that. Concerns regarding hygiene and cleanliness contributing to the smell. You are expected, abuse of power, to properly inspect your space, dispose of any waste. Well, I've actually been told that this is probably one of the nicest environments on this property. But here's another experience of what I'm trying to communicate. So I couldn't find a job. It was peculiar. People would hire me and then retract, and they were acting weird, like someone was telling them to do it. And it was weird, it wasn't just this incredibly difficult, but I don't know anyone. I don't know what's happening. So it was just strange. So the only job I could get was at McDonald's. So I was recognized because I was one of the top employees that I would get all kinds of certificates and recognition. So they defrauded me out of funds several different times, in like multiple different other locations that I've worked. It's a track record before I even knew I was targeted. My family has even experienced it. So we don't know what's going on. That someone, how can you have businesses defraud someone out of funds repeatedly? That's insane. Law enforcement wouldn't have someone to demand that someone to commit a crime and defraud someone out of funds and it be okay because it's law enforcement. That's impossible. So nonetheless, I'm working at McDonald's, and McDonald's demands that I work on someone else's register. I'm not really seeing it, what's happening. So that person is now getting all the recognition. I'm not getting it, but it's managers. So managers, it gets more and more aggressive. And then, I'm saying that they're terrorizing me at work, and they actually falsified information. I was hired for a cashier. I have knee replacements and have back issues. They falsified information, said I was hired for another position that I wasn't hired for. Because a lot of people flirted with me at work. And, like I said, I got a lot of recognition and rewards. So then it escalated. So then they started slandering me. She had to start letting people go. They said that they needed help on my day off. I came to work at McDonald's in Hillsborough. I was also being violated on transit. So I went to work on my days off. I was the only register on spring break, taking my time in, the only one on spring break at the register. It was meant for torment. I didn't know what was happening. I said, they said that they were short-staffed. There were like all these other people doing other things, and they were holding up. The line was going out the door, but I was doing a great job. So I said that I'm out of quarters. I said that I'm out of ones. They wouldn't give me ones. I said I used up all the quarters. I said, can you give me quarters? I don't have ones or quarters. She let me sit in there, the supervisor. So then I used all the dimes. And then I said, I can't function with just nickels. The customers don't want this. So then she, played games. I ran out of cups. They wanted me to go all the way to the drive-thru, and people were going all the way out the door, making it difficult. If I eat, she said, give them their cups. I said, I don't have cups. I said, I'm going to go get the cups. They were standing around saying that they were waiting on them to make the food. The supervisor wouldn't get the cups, wanted me to go all the way to the drive-thru. I said, I'll go get my own cups. If you go get your own cups, you'll be fired. I said, well, what do you want me? You're standing around. Why won't you give me the cups? She would not. So then the customer started complaining about the behavior that they're witnessing. Then she goes to get the cups and then gives me the money. Then the customers are still complaining at the other parties. And then I said, you know what? If they were mistreated and bullying me, I said, I'm leaving. This is my day off. I'm being terrorized. She starts saying that she says, well, if you leave now, you're being terminated. I said, this is my day off. You can't terminate me on my day off. The customers are panicking because I'm the only one working. She starts crying. Customers are calling in. They're complaining about the manager and what they witnessed. They have scammers calling in to the same supervisor. She says, I don't know what's going on. I've had several calls stating that they saw the insanity, making complaints on both sides. So he had his scammers call and make a complaint, and then had other parties that witnessed the insanity that made the complaints, witnessing that why would your worker violate this party? She's the only one working. So nonetheless, she said, I don't know what's happening. They claim that she's dead. I don't know the truth because I was trying to incriminate this location. But all these scammers lie to conceal crimes. So she states that I don't know what's happening. I've already terminated people that's lying on you. But if I keep letting people go, there won't be anyone else working here. They kept pathologically lying. I was already being defrauded out of funds. I felt that if I continued to work there, it would jeopardize my livelihood because I didn't know what other lie they come up with. I didn't know who was behind it. What I'm thinking is impossible. So nonetheless, that's a history of experiences. Here's the logo. It's all for psychological abuse that multiple different parties are enlisted in. They wanted me to sit and have that emotional distress, and that is a part of domestic violence. And I don't know why all these accomplices wouldn't be conspirators in this mind game. If you are legally monitoring someone and infuriated when they're smiling and listening to music in their own environment, and you strategize every single day for them to be in torment, why is that not criminal? Including all the multiple different conspirators that drive cars, let them start arguments, texts, devise put-outs, so someone could be in a constant state of fear. Year after year. As you can see, this has went on an extended amount of time. So are you giving me a statement? I'd like to do it on body cam footage.
Okay. No, ma'am. You can complete that.
I thought that was a crime.
Okay, well...
I thought strategizing to have me do a report so it won't be on body cam footage what I'm saying, I thought that was an active crime. If you're throwing my reports in the trash and demand that I not tell you my story on body cam so you don't get your prison sentence, I didn't think you had that right. Nonetheless, they keep doing it. And I thought cutting your body cam off in the middle of someone's report was also a crime. But they keep doing that as well for the emails.
Dear Ms. Clark, this letter serves. You want me to read this out loud for you?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
This letter serves as an official warning concerning recent statements and reports allegedly made by you, which include false or defamatory state claims, including government officials or public employees.
Okay, now
making false accusations against law enforcement personnel, government staff.
You don't have to read the whole thing because there's a lot of them. You can go into.
There's definitely, so they provide you every statute that you're violating by perjury and official oppression. So inapplicable misuse.
Yes, but
so all these ones from the sergeant are all in reference to your complaints.
But it's supposed to be a fake email.
It's not a fake email. It doesn't look like it.
They said that they don't have that party working there. That's why you're here.
Okay.
Then they didn't have it.
We also don't work for the police department, so.
But it's a fake email, and that's criminal.
Then contact the police department.
No, the crime, they said that they can't handle it because it's not theirs. I have to report it to you because the crime was committed here.
Involving this agency, involving the police department.
No, I already called them. I already called them.
So it seems like all those, you can take this back.
There's other emails in there.
Okay.
He only looked at one email, and it was like 13 for that day.
It's not a real email, though.
Okay.
And the Chromebook worker.
Code in which you were in violation. So obviously they're giving you fair warning.
I think that you're just abusing your power, like you guys have been doing years. That's why I need witness protection.
He leaves,
so,
like everyone else, to leave me in the crisis. You can look at it. This is the video. I paused it. My devices just keep doing their own thing. This is the video. So, nothing. This is what this is about, to let you see the history.